Hello humans, it's just Martine, and this week I have some serious reading to do. Last week I moved into my new apartment and I have a week in between when I moved and when classes start. So I would already want to get a lot of reading done in that week before things get crazy with the semester. But if you add on to that I have a couple of live shows to either be in or watch this upcoming weekend that I haven't finished everything for, and then you add in the fact that all of my library loans are also due, we've created quite a storm for ourselves. I think one thing that's really going to help me this week is that over on the Bookish Reality Discord, we're having a 3-hour-a-day reading challenge for the week. And so I'm going to get some accountability to get plenty of reading done in a day. But to get all the reading done that I want to get done this week, I'll probably have to read for more than 3 hours. We'll just have to see about that because honestly, I haven't even been regularly hitting that every day as it is. With that in mind, let's talk about some books that absolutely need to be finished and that I would like to be finished as well. So we'll go like in a priority reading manner. Here are the library books that are due this week. I have Joined at the Joints, which is a YA romance with excellent chronic illness representation. This morning in the 25 minutes I've read already, I've officially hit 50%. I started it like 2 days ago. That one is due on Tuesday night, so I'm hoping to finish it today actually, because that would be great. Next up on things that are due at the library is Mad Ship by Robin Hobb, which is the second book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy and is like 900 pages long. I am 12% of the way into this book, probably over 13 hours left of reading to do to finish this book. It's due Saturday evening. That I think is my biggest Next up on my priority list are the 3 Junie B. Jones books I need to read for my live show on Saturday. They're also due that same day, but the live show is before they are due. Regardless, by Saturday, 3 Junie B. Jones books need to be read. And then finally, for priority library books, I have this book called, I think, Time After Time that I haven't even started. It's due Sunday morning. 10 a.m. And then I also have other non-library books that I'm in the middle of that I would still really like to make progress on. In particular, if I finish one book that I'm, granted, only 10% of the way into, I would finish a reading vlog that I could then put out next week, which would be very helpful for my video schedule. Also, if I want to submit all my Tales from Two Trails prompts for this month, I would have to finish The Great Night by Chris Adrian, and I'm like 20% of the way into this book. I also need to be reading 30 minutes for my 12 TBRs of Christmas every day, so that's going to take away from some of these other high priority books right now. But the problem is that I feel like I have these high priority books all year long, and when I don't prioritize the 12 TBRs books and I put them as low priority, they just never get read, which is why I'm so behind in 12 TBRs right now. I also have a Kindle Unlimited book that I would like to make progress on. It's the next in the Edge of Collapse series because I want to finish that series and as many KU books as I can to see, am I going to be continuing another month of KU or not? The answer is I probably will, but I would at least like to make paying for this month worth it and read some books over there. So as you can see, my reading list is kind of insane for this week, and we'll just have to see how much of it we can actually accomplish. I'm saying to myself that if only the high priority things and the 30 minutes of 12 TBRs each day gets done, that's okay. But in my mind, it's not. Let's see what we can do about this. I'm here at almost 6:30 to bring you an evening update. I've gotten some pretty solid reading in so far today, but my main update is that I did manage to finish Joined at the Joints, which I gave 5 stars. I have to preface this review by saying that a lot of my rating comes from how this book made me feel specifically. As for a plot, there wasn't a whole lot of one, which I'm totally fine with, and the like third act big conflict was really basically nothing, which I know some people would have problems with, but I didn't. For a couple of reasons. One, I think because it was mainly a conflict with a relationship in the book. I feel like I hate third act breakup situations anyway, and so for it to be like a little blip but really not be a huge deal was more how I want my books to go most of the time, I would say. And also I think this book was not meant to be about plot. It was meant to be a book about living with chronic illness. Specifically, it was meant to be a book about living with rheumatoid arthritis, and that's an own voice's perspective from the author. And so what this book wanted to be It was very well. It's a young adult romance story. We're following this girl named Ivy. She's been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis for about a year and a half. Her sister has celiac, her mom has lupus, and her sister and her mom kind of forced her to go to this chronic illness support group. And that's the first time she ever meets another person her age with rheumatoid arthritis. And the story kind of goes from there. Not only is it about chronic illness in terms of rheumatoid arthritis and all the many illnesses that lead characters have in this story, each member of the support group has like a different one. It is also a story about severe social anxiety, which was something that was very helpful for me to read during my transition back to school specifically. It made me feel a lot less alone. I liked the couple in this. I was rooting for Grant and Ivy a lot, not because of the things that they had in common, but because of the ways that I felt that they connected and communicated. I feel like often in YA books, it's hard to root for the characters because I feel like their relationship is very immature and I don't think they should actually be together. But this was one of those rare times where I feel like the characters were a really good match. They were both very good for each other in different ways and I believed in their relationship. So that had me kicking my feet and screaming a little bit when their relationship was progressing because I felt like it was a relationship I could really root for. But I think what I liked most about this book was hearing somebody else deal with chronic illness and hearing lots of different perspectives about it from many different characters with different walks of life and different illnesses, and seeing how the support group accommodated one another when they did events was everything to me. And even how the characters in the core family in the book accommodated one another for their different needs was incredible. The main character really likes to cook and she was going through her grandma's old box of recipes to alter them all to be gluten-free so that her sister could safely eat these nostalgic meals without it triggering a celiac flare-up. All of those things were really special to me. I feel like one of the things this story says, but that I already know, is that living with chronic illness can be a very isolating experience, even when members of your own family are ill too. I also felt seen by a lot of the characters' emotions about explaining her illness to other people and moving forward in her treatment and leveling up and the fears that she had about that and switching doctors and all of those things. If you don't know, I have a form of dysautonomia called neurocardiogenic syncope. It basically means that I'm more prone to fainting, and it does all kinds of wacky things in my body because the autonomic nervous system is actually in charge of a lot of things. And so having an autonomic nervous system that doesn't function correctly is hard. There were a lot of lines about like your body being your worst enemy that I feel so deeply from my experiences. It was even around the same time in my life as this character was getting diagnosed that I was starting to figure out what was happening with my body. So that was weird too, and just like incredible to read about somebody else's emotions and just feel like I was so much less alone in that. I was so privileged to have people around me that understood what I was going through like viscerally, and yet it's different to read it in a fictional character and realize that that experience exists outside of your close circle and to have access to somebody's direct thoughts about that situation, right? Like one of the things that I love about writing and in turn reading is the fact that we're literally ingesting other people's thoughts in a way that is oftentimes impossible. I mean, one, people are willing to write more than they will say sometimes. Two, fiction allows us to hide our feelings and expressions in people that are not real, and therefore any judgments on those characters are not judgments on us. Fiction is such a special vehicle for conveying how we truly feel, and in that way fiction is such an incredible vehicle to see ourselves reflected in the thoughts of others. And so I gave this 5 stars because I could just so viscerally understand and appreciate the reason that this narrative exists. And I thought it was told beautifully, and I loved the characters, and I cared what happened to them, and I just felt really seen, which is especially important because the theme of this vlog is probably going to be like, I have so much to read and also I'm lonely. Moving into a new apartment and having everything around me change all the time is really hard, and I felt very alone today. But whenever I read this book, I felt so much less alone, which is why I've been talking about it for 8 minutes now. I typically don't like to spend a long time talking about one specific book, but in this case, it's the discussion that I want to share and a vulnerability that I feel like is important to share. So if you listen to this whole review, Thank you for hearing me. I recommend this book. If you're chronically ill, I think you'd resonate a lot with the things in here. If you are not chronically ill, I think it is a good educational tool for understanding what it can be like. And it's just a cute story too about finding people that understand you. And I think that's a universal thing, right? Like in this case, it's done in the context of chronic illness, but it is always magical to find people who get us in a way that other people can't. That's one of the things I love about booktube and the bookish internet is I can talk to you all about books and reading in a way that people out in the regular world may not get. All right, I'm gonna stop talking for the night and maybe go back to reading a bit after I finish an episode of The Big Bang Theory that I was in the middle of, but neither of my roommates are home right now, so I figured now would be as good a time as any to yap for a few minutes, if you will. I'll keep you updated. Happy Tuesday. I have spent most of the morning so far editing in bed. I just finished editing my weekend reading vlog and it's exporting right now, so that's good. It's currently 9:44. And yesterday I read like just 3 hours and that's it. Again, yesterday was a really weird day for me emotionally, so I spent a lot of time not reading and trying to deal with that instead, which is good because a lot of times, sometimes I just ignore my feelings and read instead, so I was proud of myself for dealing with them. Today, I really do need to make some good progress on Madship, although last night I did hit 20% of that, so that was a big leap in progress compared to how I've been reading it so far. I read like 8% of it yesterday, which is so much better than the like 1% per day that I was doing before. Now that my video is edited, I'll get out of bed and get ready for the day and we'll see where the day takes us. Hopefully to a lot of reading. Happy Wednesday. I didn't update you because I didn't have much to update you on. And my update for you today is pretty simple. I hit the halfway part of The Madship by Robin Hobb, which is so good. I'm actually at like 55% now, which is awesome. So I am on schedule to finish it on time. I've also been making some progress on The Great Night, like 10 pages at a time. I'm like 38% of the way through it. So I'm hoping to finish this for Two Trails as well. But those are the two main reading things I've been doing. Oh, I did start Time and Time Again last night, so that I could at least say I had started it. And I'm 12% of the way into that one. It's like a Groundhog Day type situation. So books are being read, but I've mainly been trapped in my room for a couple of reasons, including the fact that every time I step outside, it starts raining. We love South Florida in the summer. People think you go to the beach in South Florida in the summer. No, you stay inside. It's way too hot out and it rains constantly. That's me. Happy Friday. What has happened recently that I need to catch you up on? I have been reading a lot, but because I'm making my way through The Madship, you know, that's a lot of it. That is almost 3 hours of my reading yesterday. So the good news is that I am in a position to finish The Madship today, which would be epic if I can make it happen. Granted, I got a later start to today than I wanted to because my roommate's alarm went off at 5. I am a light sleeper. It woke me up. Her backup alarm went off right as I fell back asleep. And so when my alarm went off at 7, I said no. Then I lounged in bed for a really long time after I finally did wake up. So it's been kind of a rough morning out here, and I should have just woken up with her first alarm. There is a part of me that is so stubborn and goes, that is not when I meant to wake up. That's life, I guess. The reason I was saying that is just because I had plans to finish The Madship today, but we don't always get what we planned, you know? I am at 80% of The Madship, and according to my sources being my Kindle, I have 2 hours and 42 minutes left of the book, which is totally doable for today if I like stay focused, because it's not all that I'm going to read today. I need to read another Jeannie B. Jones book. That's fine. It should take like 15 minutes. I need to read 30 minutes of a 12 TBR's book. And I might want to read more than 30 minutes of that because I'm really close to the end of a book. So it would be great if I could finish that book too. I would like to make progress in The Great Night because I'm not even halfway and it's crunch time for Two Trails. But this has been a slower read. I'll admit it. And as far as this list of like due dates, I am on track to finish everything by when I need to, because Madship and the Junie B. Jones collection are due tomorrow night. Time and Time Again is due Sunday morning, and I'm 30% of the way through that. So of course it would be nice if I made progress in that today, but who do I think I am, really? I hope the weather's going to be okay today, because it's the first day of my meal plan for the semester, so I will be going outside to go get food on like a 15-minute walk to get there. And if it downpours on me, I will be salty. I guess we'll just have to see. And y'all hold me accountable to read all of these things today. I guess the question of the afternoon is, does it even look like a day has passed when I'm sitting in the exact same place? But it's almost 7 p.m. Fun fact. I have some updates to give you. In particular, my biggest victory of the day is that I finished The Mad Ship by Robin Hobb, and I'm giving it 4 stars. It's the second book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy, which is the second trilogy in the Realm of the Elderlings universe. This trilogy is all about pirates and family conflict, and it's a good fun time. We're following like a ton of characters, and the way that people always pitch this particular trilogy is magic boats that come to life. And so if you needed a pitch, that's it. This one, the ending was maybe not what I wanted it to be, but the journey there was very fun. So 4 stars. And that means that I finished it in time for my loan to end, which is so great. Another thing that I finished in time was all the Junie B. Jones reading that I had to do. I had to read 3 of them, and I read them all, and I'm not going to necessarily talk about them much here, except saying that I got it done, and I'm proud of myself because the live show for that is tomorrow. So there will be plenty of thoughts in the live show, which is on my channel and existed before this video did. So, you know, if you're at all interested, you've probably already heard my thoughts on the 3 of them. But if at any point you want to join in our Junie B. Jones read along, please do. That means that as far as my original emergency list goes, I have 1 book left that is due Sunday morning, and that's Time and Time Again, which I haven't read yet at all today, but I'm probably gonna do that soon. Although at the beginning of the video I mentioned how many other things I wanted to read as well. So let's chat about that. I think The Great Night is the only one of those books that I mentioned that I've actually made progress on. Mad Ship has taken up so much time, and it's going to be insane that I don't have to read it tomorrow. I would like to get to halfway of this book before the end of the night. I feel like I'm close to halfway. It's under 300 pages and I'm on page 134. So I am making progress, but I need to be making faster progress, I think. So this and Time Again are probably my main reading focuses for the rest of the night. And then tomorrow will be a lot of live shows because I'm going to watch the Shelf This book club live show for Slewfoot, and then the Junie B. Jones live show, which I'll be hosting and is on my channel. I know that if I'm going to get some serious reading done, it's probably going to be tonight. Update, I definitely would have taken a video if it had happened, but I did not get horrifically rained on today, which was a huge success. I brought my umbrella everywhere, and it did rain horrifically while I was out, but not on me. Winning! I had my sunglasses on 1 minute, and then the next minute there was like a torrential downpour once I had gotten inside. So that's the South Florida life, really. Yay. Oh, I also high-key forgot to mention that since it was the first day back at the dining hall, I got so many steps today. Not just because of the dining hall, I also went on a really long walk, but regardless, the point is that I've gotten over 22,000 steps today. I have walked. My favorite thing so far to do in my new room is to make a cozy little nook in my closet. It looks ridiculous because all my clothes are hanging around me, but there's something so comforting. Like, it's open to the rest of the room right now, but I'm just tucked in here. I don't know. There's something so nice about it. And it's good because it makes me feel like I'm not spending all day sitting in bed, but I can have a cozy place to sit and read. And in this case, watch the Slewfoot live show for Shelf This. Other than that, my reading is going okay so far today. And I did get rained on earlier, but my umbrella came in clutch. So not a bad Saturday so far. Happy Sunday. I came to tell you that last night I did in fact finish Time and Time Again, and I'm giving it 3.5 stars. Like any Groundhog Day book, we're experiencing the same day over and over again. And like a lot of them, they're starts by being one person in the time loop, and then they find another person stuck in the time loop, and then things happen between them. You know, that's time loop central. Some pros of this book: we're following a queer disabled cast of very likable characters, in my opinion, and it's kind of like a second chance best friends to lovers situation, because these two humans were besties growing up and they were both in love with each other, but they never said, and then an incident drove them apart when they were like 14, I think. They haven't talked since. They're 17 now, and they get stuck in a time loop. Well, one's already in a time loop, but then the other joins in the time loop when they accidentally hit the main character with their car. I really like what this author did at the end of the book, or like in the last act of the book, if you will. I think the author made some surprising decisions with the time loop that I really enjoyed and shocked me a little. I don't think it's the best thing I've ever read, and like maybe I wasn't as invested in the characters as I would like to be, but 3.5 stars is a solid rating, and it's returned to the library now, so I've officially reached all those like must-do reading goals for the week. I'm going to have some reading sprints with Bailey in like 20 minutes, and I'll hopefully make progress on some of the other reading goals that I mentioned. Of particular note, I have less than 2 hours left of The Great Night. I'm currently right here, so I don't know if I will finish this today, but that would be pretty rad. And so I think this is going to be my first focus on reading sprints. I, of course, also have to do my 30 minutes of 12 TBRs reading, and then we'll see where we go from there. It's the day before classes start, and so I'm just gonna do what I can today and live life. So that's the update. Set up for the live show. I've got my timer already. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Well, I guess while we're here, heck yeah. Thanks to reading sprints, I finished The Great Night, which I'm giving 2.5 stars, because even though parts of it were intriguing and I like the concept of a Midsummer Night's Dream retelling, I had no idea what was happening for most of this book. We're following a plethora of characters, much like in Midsummer Night's Dream, but we spend a lot of time focusing on like their pasts instead of, you know, what's happening in this book. And I, for the life of you, can't tell you what actually happened in this book. Like, I can tell you some things about certain characters or certain actions that happened, but I can't tell you like what actually happened and what the point was and all that. 2.5 for interesting concept, some interesting moments, but very confusing. I can't tell if it's because of the way it was written, like if it was the writing style's fault, because I feel like the writing style was normal, but then my brain would not hold on to it. I'd get it for a page, and then on the next page I'd be like, wait, why are we here now? That wasn't ideal, but it does mean that I did all the prompts for Tales from Two Trails this month, so go me. And to be honest with you, that's probably gonna be the last thing that I finish in this weekly vlog, so I'm going to end it right here. If you like to, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and comment down below. Do you have any library loans that are due soon? And subscribe for more bookish and college lifestyle content. And until next time, bye humans, bye.